5 Dodgers made the All-Star team. One of them shouldn't play though, and it's Shohei Ohtani.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Harry Ruiz, that's Travis Rogers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers. On today's show, one of the most emotional stories you'll hear all season as Eliezer Alfonzo made his major league debut while grieving an unmanageable family tragedy. We'll talk about another series win over San Diego because at this point, the Dodgers own the Padres. But first, Travis, we'll start with Shohei Ohtani, who is once again an all-star starter. But after leaving Friday's game with biceps tightness, should the Dodgers seriously consider giving him the entire all-star break off?
I've heard worse ideas, that's for sure. We're going to be all over it on today's episode of Locked On Dodgers, brought to you by FanDuel. The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and my goodness, what a match yesterday. Let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now.
5 Dodgers are heading to Philadelphia, and honestly, it could have even been more. But for now, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Andy Pages. Them 4, they were voted as National League starters. No other team in Major League Baseball has more than 2. The Dodgers have 4. Yoshinobu Yamamoto joins them after earning a pitching selection, giving the Dodgers 5 All-Stars once again, something that has now become routine because it's 7 consecutive seasons the Dodgers have had at least 5 All-Stars. Another reminder of just how consistently talented this organization has been over the last decade. And Travis Dave Roberts, he stole our thoughts. He made a case for Justin Robleski, for Tanner Scott, and even for Mookie Betts, saying all 3 have had all-star caliber first halves. I'll say that about Robleski and Tanner Scott. Mookie has had a really good month offensively for the boys in blue, but it's hard to argue that the Dodgers deserve less than 5. They do deserve more than 5.
No, there's not one person that is going to the All-Star game that's going to be wearing a Dodger uniform that you're going to go, I don't know, man. And I'm with you. I think if Scott had gone, it makes sense. Had Robleski gone, it makes sense. Had Mookie gone, that would have been one of those, oh, man, I don't know. Like, to your point, Mookie's had a really nice month, and Mookie has kind of saved his season, especially offensively. But the rest of those guys, those 5 guys, and look, Freddie Freeman basically goes to the All-Star game every year because he should. He's one of the best players. Max Muncy might be having the best year of his very, very good career. Andy Pages has shown up on the scene for the first time in a real way and really kind of solidified his position as one of the best players in the National League. And then Shohei is Shohei. We don't even need to talk about him. He's on a whole nother level. Of course, he's going to make the All-Star team, but none of these are the result of ballot stuffing. None of these are the result of the manager selecting one of his guys because they want to reward him. These guys earn their spot on the team, and I agree with you, Harry. I agree with Dave Roberts. We talked about this last week. Our everydayers will know this. You and I were making cases for more players, and I don't think it's ridiculous. And then lastly, you look at some of the money that they went out and spent, Edwin Diaz and Kyle Tucker in particular, the 2, here we go again. Those guys, one didn't even play, and the other guy has had a kind of, he's heated up a little bit over the last, week or so, but he had a dreadful first half of the season. So this is not them just going out and buying more All-Stars. This is them continuing to develop and polish their very good players that were in the organization already.
And look, while celebrating 5 All-Stars is great, the bigger conversation, in my opinion, isn't about who made the roster. It's about whether Shohei Ohtani should actually participate. Because if you watched Friday's game, it reminded everyone just how much the Dodgers are asking of him. He threw a season-high 110 pitches, struck out 9 hitters, battled through 6 innings, then felt tightness in his right biceps during his final at-bat, and thankfully, it wasn't while pitching because that would have been an even bigger conversation. But he said that it's the same area that bothered him briefly a couple of months ago and expects it to calm down quickly. But the Dodgers took him out of the game in the 7th inning of a 1-run game and then immediately ruled him out for Saturday's game. And I actually like that decision because if there's one thing we've learned about Shohei Ohtani, it's this. If you ask him if he can play, he's almost always going to say yes. That's just how he's wired. The Dodgers, they have to be the ones protecting him, especially right now. Whenever he feels anything, it's like, okay, man, we got a 14-game lead in the division. There's no need to risk you. But Travis, we got the All-Star break coming up. What do you think about potentially? I know how big of a marketing tool Shohei Ohtani is for the game, but how important would it be to just get 4 days of, hey, dude, relax, stay home, enjoy your family. We'll see you in New York.
Yeah, let's start there. I would totally get it. And as a Dodger fan, I wouldn't be bothered at all if he skipped All-Star week, right? If he wants to go and do the pomp and circumstance and stand on the foul line and tip his cap and do all that kind of stuff, great. If he just wants to go home or go to the trainer's room and get worked on to try to repair his body, I get that as well. As Dodger fans, we're really spoiled because we get to watch him basically every night, right? We get to experience the Ohtani show on a regular basis. I get it that maybe if you live in another major league city or you're a baseball fan and you only get to see Shohei periodically, that you would like to see him in this environment. And I certainly understand that. But the Dodgers are about titles. The Dodgers are about getting as healthy as they can at the most important time of the season. The All-Star game, which I absolutely love, is not important in the sense of, they need to win or it matters for anybody's, back of their baseball card kind of stuff. It's more of an honorific kind of thing. So if he needed to go get healthy, I 100% support it. Kind of going back to something you said before, I think you're right. I think that the Dodgers acted as quickly as they did to shut him down for Saturday's game, I think was interesting. I think this is just something that, and I don't even like talking about it, Harry, because it just feels like it allows the bad mojo into the room. But this two-way stuff, it just can't last forever. It's just too difficult. There's a reason that Ohtani is Ohtani and that we're so mesmerized by what he does. It's because this isn't supposed to happen. And it sure as isn't supposed to happen at the major league level. So I understand them being cautious. The fact that he said, hey, my bicep is bothering me a little bit, I think tells you that it was more than just a little teeny tiny thing. You can't be too careful with Ohtani. Your point is the right point, I think, which is if you ask him, of course, he's going to want to play. And I think the Dodgers are going to have to step in front of him occasionally, not a lot, but occasionally, and make decisions on his behalf, because leave it up to him. He's always going to want to push forward. So I think they have to be a little cautious when they can. If that means skipping the All-Star break, skip the All-Star break.
And if it was just a biceps, something that just popped up and be like, oh, that feels different. But it's not just that, Travis. It's the left knee that he's already been dealing with. It's already the blister in his pitching hand that he has already been dealing with. And then add this, and we're still in early July. And let's remember, too, the Dodgers, they pushed his start back on Friday to give him additional rest. So they're clearly trying to manage the workload. So that's my question. And that's why I bring it up, because believe me too, I would love to see him participate in the home run derby. I would love to see him during the All-Star game pitch and have 2 at-bats and be like, that's our guy. We get to see him every single day. You guys get to see him just during the All-Star break and whenever we play your team. But right now, I'm in the state of mind of, skip all of that, stay home, enjoy your baby boy who was just born a couple of weeks ago, enjoy your wife, enjoy your other girl, your kid, and be like, distract yourself from baseball for a couple of days. Just reinforce everything that you have in your mind and go back into the game you love a couple of days later, because what's Shohei Ohtani going to win from going to the All-Star game? Nothing, in my opinion.
I'm with you. And look, if you really wanted to get extra cautious, and I'm not suggesting that this is the best course of action, but it's certainly a possibility. Look at what the Dodgers have left before the All-Star break starts. They've got a series with the Rockies and a series with the Diamondbacks. The National League West is over. It is in their back pocket. They can go do whatever they want to do to get as healthy as they can possibly get over the course of basically now till the start of the playoffs in October. And if he really does want to go to the All-Star game, maybe you pull him off the field now. Maybe you give him a little bit of a break now between the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Maybe he shows up at the All-Star game, because we know what's waiting for him on the back end of the All-Star week. That's a series in New York against the Yankees. So that is a big deal. That is kind of a showcase event for the Dodgers, for the Yankees, for Major League Baseball. And I'm sure that, we all know that Shohei loves the biggest stages, and it doesn't get much bigger than Yankee Stadium. So an opportunity to do that there. But I just keep coming back to the first thing, Harry, which is enjoy this two-way stuff while you can, because it's not going to last forever. I have no idea how long. I just don't think this is something that we're going to be talking about 2-3 years from now, if even that far out into the future. So if they need to pace him a little bit more right now, I'm all for it.
We haven't even closed the first half of the season, and here we are having this conversation. And just like you said it, you got the Yankees first off, where you have your first game on a Friday night, and then Saturday you're on Fox, then Sunday you're on NBC on national TV. Of course, it's huge. Then you got the Phillies, who have been on the ascent. Then you got the Mets, who are big spenders. That's a big road trip to kick off the second half of the season, and that's something where you could see some NBA type load management. But in the MLB, where it's like, okay, man, we got the Rockies, we got the D-backs. The Rockies, they are worse than the D-backs, but the D-backs, they're in the same position as the Padres right now, which isn't a good one looking from the outside looking in when it comes to postseason standings. So if you were making the decision, you checking out our show, would you have Shohei Ohtani skip all on-field all-star activities to get extra rest? Drop your take in the comments, or let us know on any of our social networks, or hit up the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 2793-LOCKED. I want to hear where you stand. Travis and I seem to be on the same page, which would be a completely different one from Commissioner Rob Manfred, who I'm pretty sure would love to have Shohei Ohtani on the field as much as possible for this game. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, LA just finished another series against San Diego, where they showed the Padres who's their Padre. A big thank you goes out to our friends at Amazon for this limited break. This back-to-school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. Look, we all know how wild back-to-school shopping gets. You kick off with a short list, and suddenly you're deep in supplies, clothes, lunch gear, tech, and a bunch of stuff you didn't even plan for. It stacks up fast. When it's 9 p.m. the night before school starts and somebody suddenly remembers they need folders, notebooks, markers, and apparently 12 other things nobody mentioned until now, nothing gets the heart rate up quite like emergency school shopping. I'm convinced Prime's Deliver Tomorrow Before 7 a.m. feature was created exclusively for parents in this moment. So here's the move. With Amazon's low back-to-school prices, just spend less on your kids, because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar you haven't spent on them. Shop back to school at Amazon and spend less on your kids. Are you new here? Welcome. Everydayers, you already know you're the heartbeat of our show. It's easy and free to help us out. Subscribe and like our content on YouTube. Drop a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, and hit up the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 2793-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. The Dodgers continue owning the Padres. If you're a Dodgers fan, these last couple of weeks have been a lot of fun. If you're a Padres fan, not so much. The Dodgers and Padres played 7 games in a 10-day span. Los Angeles won 5 of them, and the way they won matters just as much as the final record. They erased deficits, they won close games, they pitched well. They found different heroes almost every single night. And Travis, even Sunday's loss doesn't change the overall picture. The Dodgers walked away from this stretch looking every bit like the better team.
Not only are they the better team, Harry, they're just so far in the Padre head, I can't even tell you, right? Like, think about the way that they won those first 3 games. I'm with you. Yesterday was kind of, whatever. They lose the game, and they didn't have an extra base hit. But all right, it's just one of those days. Thursday night felt like a night that was going to be, just a terrible, terrible night where they blew that. The Dodgers were way behind. They come back and they end up blowing them out. Friday night, Teoscar Hernandez hits a grand slam late in the game to break their hearts. I was kind of impressed by the Padres from coming back after that disaster where they blew that huge lead to come out, and they looked pretty good for most of the game. They took a lead. You're like, all right, they're kind of grinding this out. Good for them for showing up after having your heart broken, after having a 23-3 loss in Chicago. And then they get their heart broken again because Teoscar hits a grand slam. And then you go to the next night, and Yamamoto just absolutely dominates him. They put another run on Mason Miller. Mason Miller doesn't give up runs to anybody except for when he pitches against the Dodgers. The Dodgers tag him almost every time he pitches. It's just uncanny. And then yesterday was yesterday. It is what it is. Who cares, really, right? Just an extraordinary weekend for them. They're 14 games up in the division. It's just not only do they have this massive lead, but they are so far in their head because the Padre bullpen, which is pretty good, isn't good against the Dodgers. No matter how big of a lead they have, it's not good enough. No matter who comes up to bat in the big situation, whether it's Ohtani or Freeman, who are, all-stars, or whether it's Teoscar Hernandez, who's more of a role player on this particular team, they cannot find a way to beat this team. And it was a really fun series to watch.
No doubt about it. 59-32 is the record for the Dodgers at the moment, and that's not a small gap that they have right now with San Diego and Arizona. Those 14 games are a massive cushion right there. And while there are still plenty of games left, the Padres are now closer to falling completely out of the playoff picture than they are to catching the Dodgers. They're closer to the Rockies than they are closer to the Dodgers at the moment, and that's crazy to think about. And one thing that stood out to me this weekend was the emotion. You could feel the frustration coming out of San Diego. In yesterday's game, the Mexico game got postponed an hour, so that gave me extra time to watch the Dodgers game. And the crazy part was that 3 pitches in, the Padres manager, Craig Stammen, said, screw this. He got ejected from the game. One of his bench coaches got ejected from the game. I'm pretty sure he wanted to watch the Mexico game just like I did, and was like, you know what? Let me get out of here. Let me go and watch the game at home. I'm pretty sure he was able to get to San Diego and hit the 5 freeway in time to watch the soccer game. But you look at the Padres, their demeanor, the way that they looked, Travis, and you go from that first series that they had, what was it, mid-May against the Padres, and there was emotion. They were relatively closer in the standings, and then you had that series last week where it was like, okay, there's a little bit more separation, and by the end of the series, it was double digits, and now it's 14 games, and you could just see them, and I even saw some of their fans pop up on social media where it was like, well, we still eliminated them from the playoffs. We have that. I'm like, dude, Dodgers won 2 World Series since then. They literally eliminated you from the playoffs as well, and you're still clinging to that. It's like, dude, give me a break. They're already broken. They're done, and I wouldn't be shocked if major changes are coming to that franchise, either it be with players, with coaches, with management. They need a house cleaning over there. I know there's a lot of baseball left to be played, but that team seems to be broken, and the Dodgers, they're part of it.
Yeah, lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep is the line that comes to mind. It's like, you guys go do whatever you want. It's none of my concern. I think you saw Craig Stammen get run yesterday because he knows that his team is right here as far as just completely letting go of the rope. They're not a bad team, but they're playing badly, and they're really struggling. And I think this was one of those moments where the manager's like, I got to try every trick in the book, and if that means blowing my stack early in the game to try to get my guys fired up, that's what I have to try to go do. He's brand new too. The Padres have been going through managers fast. They've gone through a bunch of guys in the last few years, so I don't think they're probably looking to make another change anytime soon because they've tried that as well. I think this is a really good example, and this will kind of circle back to the Dodgers. But one of the problems the Padres have, I believe, is that they have no leadership on the field. They just don't have the right people in the right places to kind of settle some things down, get everybody on the same page, to continue to grind it out. Like, Manny Machado is the first guy that comes to mind, and we all know Manny Machado's reputation. I'm not going to be Johnny Hustle and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, think about it, the Dodgers. You think Max Muncy would allow stuff like that to go down? You think Freddie Freeman or Mookie Betts or Will Smith or any of those guys are going to allow that just kind of situation that's going on with San Diego? The Padres are in a weird way. They're like you said, they're closer to the bottom than they are the top, and they're in a weird spot. They're obviously not catching the Dodgers. Now you got to start looking at the rest of the National League and figuring out where you fit into the wild card race. And by the way, 4 games out of the wild card race with a bunch of teams ahead of them. They're in a weird spot. I mean, we're here early first week of July, and they're looking at the rest of their season coming unglued if they don't get it together pretty soon.
No doubt about it. The Dodgers, they just continue taking care of business, and that's important too. It's like maybe they weren't able to sweep the A's and the Padres, but those last 2 games of each series, it just felt like, hey, man, we already got it in our pocket. what's the difference between having 60 wins at the moment and having 59. They threw in a kind of alternative lineup as well with some different players. They had Shohei back, but they threw Alex Calla out there. They had Eliezer Alfonzo, who we're going to be talking about here in a second. And it was like, hey, man, just go out there, play. We have a big lead at the moment. So after watching these 7 games against the Padres, I want to ask you, our listener, our viewer, do you think the Padres will even remotely make it interesting in the NL West, or do the D-backs have a better shot? Drop your answer in the comments or hit me on social at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, or on TikTok at Harry Ruiz_. Travis, he's available on X and IG at Travis Rogers. Next on Locked On Dodgers, one of the most powerful stories of the weekend, Eliezer Alfonzo made his major league debut while carrying unimaginable grief. And it's a reminder that baseball is much bigger than wins and losses.
The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every match feels like it has the potential for a memorable moment. One goal can completely change the energy of a game, shift momentum, and alter the outcome in an instant. That's what makes tournament soccer so exciting, from the opening whistle to the final kick. And if you watched yesterday, England, Mexico, my goodness, you know how true that is. And FanDuel has given fans another reason to stay locked into every match with every goal pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. More goals means more bonus bets. All you have to do is turn on your token. That is what is so much fun about this. You may be invested in the outcome, but now all of a sudden, an extra goal here or there, and everything is changed. It changes so quickly that you're invested even more than you were from the very beginning. Beginning to end, you are hanging on every single moment, and now you get the benefit of each goal scored. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working towards the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. Think about the best teams, right? It's not just they have one great player. It's they have a lot of good players, and every single part of that business or that team works together, from the front office to the coaching staff, everybody on the same page. Odoo is going to do that for you as well. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon.
Check out Pete Fox on our YouTube channel with the Locked On Dodgers postcast right after the final out for immediate reaction of every Dodgers game. An emotional debut, bigger than baseball. Sometimes the final score simply isn't the biggest story, and Sunday was one of those days. Eliezer Alfonzo finally achieved what every baseball player dreams about. He reached the major leagues, but instead of celebrating with nothing but joy, he stepped onto that field carrying unimaginable heartbreak. Just hours before making his major league debut, Alfonzo learned that his sister, Eliana, and his stepmother, Patricia, had died following the devastating earthquakes in Venezuela. And it's difficult to even imagine processing news like that, Travis. Most people wouldn't blame him for stepping away, and nobody would have questioned it. But instead, after speaking with his dad, his brother, and those closest to him, he decided to play. And man, that was heartbreaking to learn about, and seeing him go out there on the field and his first at bat, the standing ovation he got from Dodgers fans, it was just something that, hey man, baseball can, it's something that is minimal compared to the big scope of life, but at the same time, it just helps you go through things like this.
Yeah, it was so sad to watch. The reaction from the people in Dodger Stadium, I thought, was terrific. I'm glad that everybody was pulling for him, like you said. I can't imagine what it's got to be like to have those mix of emotions, right? Just incredible sadness and despair, losing two family members like that, and having it happen so incredibly recently. And then at the same time, realizing the dream of a lifetime is coming true at the same time, that you get to go to the big leagues and you get to go wear a Los Angeles Dodgers uniform and go play in Dodger Stadium. I mean, something that he's been working towards probably for the vast majority of his life, and coupled with unimaginable tragedy. I don't know how a human being does that, to carry those two emotions at the same time like that. I think everybody is pulling for him. I think everybody is wishing the best for him, and sends prayers to his family, and it's just a heartbreaking story with a very, very nice silver lining as well, that he made the big leagues, but obviously something that he's working through and will continue to work through. But I just, like you said, Harry, I thought you said it well. I cannot imagine having to go do your job, whatever it is, with that on your mind. I know we all have to, that you got to keep moving forward. It's the only option. But I feel so deeply sad for Alfonzo and his family. It's just awful.
Yeah, you could see it on his hat. He wrote ENP with the words RIP. ENP, the initials of their family members. His sister and his stepmother then passed away, and RIP for rest in peace. And then the team, they also, they've had the VZ, the Venezuela initials, and guys like him, like Miguel Rojas, who are natives from that country, all the Latinos, the closeness that they have in the community. It's something that is like, hey, man, we embrace you. We have you in our thoughts, in our prayers, and hoping that you find something that makes you be like, hey, this right here is something that is making them proud. And actually, after the game, he talked about wanting to honor them, and he spoke about a recent conversation that he had with his sister, and this was actually his only quote in English, and we're going to share it because it was very touching. So here's Eliezer Alfonzo post game.
This is a tough moment because like 3 weeks ago, she told me that she had a beautiful dream, but she wasn't going to tell me anything until the dream came true. And I'm pretty sure the dream was something about this. I wish she was alive to watch me playing in the big leagues, but I know she's on God's side now, and she's gonna protect me, and she's gonna enjoy every moment that I'm gonna have.
Man, Travis, this right there is a reminder, man. These guys aren't robots. We might see them on TV. We might see them at the stadium like superheroes, guys that give us enjoyment from our everyday life, to have something to look towards to on at 7:10 p.m., put on the TV and you see your favorite team playing. But they're human beings, man. We spend so much time analyzing their batting averages, their ERAs, roster moves, and it's easy to forget that these are human beings that are dealing with real life, and nobody's going through it more right here than Eliezer Alfonzo, who his first shot at playing in the big leagues happens on a day that it's confirmed that two of his family members have passed away, and he went out there, he gave it his all. And Dodgers fans, I'm pretty sure every time he goes up there, they're gonna let him hear a big round of applause, a big ovation, and he's got our support.
Yeah, everybody's pulling for him, and everybody's pulling for his family, and everybody's pulling for him to do the best that he can under unspeakable circumstances, to be able to speak like he did about his sister and the dream that she had that he was unable to share with her. It just brings you right to the edge of everything else. And I thought you said it really well. I've mentioned this on my radio shows over years. Like, look, we all care about this stuff deeply, and it makes us angry, and it makes us excited, and it makes us happy, and it makes us sad, and all of these different emotions that we get. And sometimes our emotional state gets directed at the players in ways that is, irrational and disproportionate. These are people. This is not Tony Soprano on your favorite TV show, a guy playing a role. This is a real person dealing with real things, and nothing is more real than what he has to deal with right now. And look, I would say, hopefully we all remember this. We won't. People go right back to the way that they were because that's just how life works. But I feel deeply for him, and I hope that he can carry the weight of what he has on his plate right now for a long time. I hope he has a long, successful career, whether it's here with the Dodgers or somewhere else. I am an Eliezer Alfonzo fan for a while because I mean, who doesn't want him to have some good days ahead?
Everyone here at Locked On Dodgers, we send our deepest condolences to Eliezer Alfonzo, his family, and everyone affected by that tragedy with the earthquakes in Venezuela, which unfortunately it's a lot of people. And hopefully baseball can provide even the smallest source of comfort as he continues moving forward. So we'll close the segment, like always, asking a question. What moment in baseball has reminded you how much these players go through beyond what we see on the field? And we can even remember, what was it, last year or 2 years ago when Freddie Freeman, when one of his sons was sick and he was gone for a couple of weeks, and when he finally came back, how everybody at Dodger Stadium went up on their feet. And I think he struck out in that first at bat, but nobody remembers that, man. But everybody remembers just being like, hey, we got your back, we're with you. And that's something that I'm proud of the Dodger fan base, that they're smart, that they follow this team, that they know what's going on with the players, and that they will always support their guys. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network, now celebrating 10 years of existence. We'll be back on Tuesday as the Dodgers kick off their final week of the first half of the season by starting a 3-game series against the Rockies. Eric Lauer will be on the mound, and we'll talk about it here on Locked On Dodgers. If you're watching on YouTube, stick around and check out the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network channel. And if you're listening on audio, make Locked On MLB your second listen of the day. Travis and I appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.